really grown tired of how corporate greed just knows no bounds. Grows and grows and consumes more and more, and they never seem to learn. Even with first-hand experience, it's still unbelievable. You're right, Orange. I do need to get my mind off of this. You know, there's a game I found that really personifies this idea. We shall climb the corporate ladder and destroy whatever board of directors we can. Well, yeah, just in the game, not in real life. My reality is already destroyed. Going Under is what I would call a corporate dungeon crawler roguelike. A corporate crawler, if you will. You follow Jackie, the fresh out of college protagonist, as she lands an internship at a business called Fizzle Beverages. You crawl through your way through dungeons via beat-em-up style combat, grabbing and chucking all manners of weapons and office equipment that you find throughout the dungeons. The gameplay loop is enjoyable enough, with a personalized art style that I find very endearing and a bit nostalgic. The game came out on September 23rd, 2020, during the pandemic. The game has a lot of charm to it and some dated slang references, but let us break down and divulge into the average startup intern experience. As read in the title, this game was actually made by none other than the creators of Peak and Another Crab's Treasure themselves, Aggro Crab. Not many people know of their first games compared to the latter two, which Another Crab's Treasure did quite well, and Peak just blew up. Mostly because you can hit this shit. Now, did the first game hold up to the same level as the two that succeeded it? Let us find out if Going Under was peak, or if it was bankrupt. We start this game by following our protagonist Jackie, who is a fresh out of college 20-something, just trying to find a good real gig. Then this internship was offered to her by Cubicle through its Impoverished Intern Initiative, unpaid of course. Cubicle appears to be a monopolizing company similar to Amazon or Meta. I'm gonna say more like Amazon due to the fact that Cubicle seems to specialize in shipping and delivery products, mainly through drones and the use of AI. After watching the company training introduction video, your orientation is cut off as Marv. Yeah, it's Marv, by the way. Tells you to kill a goblin. Alright. And I thought corporate layoffs weren't killers. Apparently some of the other startups that Cubicle failed with are still connected to the Fizzle Beverage Work campus. And according to Marv, it is your job to go into the startup dungeon offices and purge the monsters from within. There are 3 startup dungeons that you smack, whack, and murder your way through. Each of these were picked up by Cubicle until they also went under. Joblin, some form of hands-for-hire type company like Fiverr or Uber. Styxcoin, a cryptocurrency that peaked once and has not reached those heights since. And finally, Winky, Dink, a dating app company like Tinder, except we can only communicate through emojis. Sounds elegant. Each startup has unique weapons, aesthetics, monsters, and experiences to be had within them, allowing the 3 dungeons to have their own unique personalities. During your internship, you will meet your other co-workers at Fizzle, including
Burn, Tabby, Carla, Swamp, Ray, Abby.
This is the team within Fizzle, making the most exotic of flavored beverages like Cool Ranch, and Unicorn Sweat, and the Hot Dog Water. Alright, I think I'm starting to see a trend here. Each of them serves their roles within the company. Except for Abby, they are an AI system given to Fizzle by the board of directors at Cubicle. Honestly, it fits in within today's day and age more than 2020 as AI is rampant. I mean, I can't imagine having your whole workplace dictated to you by an AI personally. Oh, I wasn't referring to you, Anna. No. You did your job perfectly and easily.
Flattery will not always work, Brassaton, but I'll let it slide this time.
Close one. Now anyways, each of the teams serves as a comedic aspect throughout the game, learning about their personalities and bonding with them. You also get to pick one as your advisor, giving you certain buffs and benefits as you go through the dungeons. Swamp on me, by the way. This is where you'll experience most of the enjoyable writing and comedy throughout the game, as well as a few cutscenes showcasing what Fizzle's main projects are, like an app that can track and recommend what Fizzle flavors you want. Sounds awful. Also, as you go through the dungeons, you'll get quests from your advisors. Doing these makes them more beneficial to you and give better buffs, as well as allow for more enjoyable interactions with some of your favorite co-workers. You go through each dungeon one at a time in order to fight the boss/founder of the company, retrieving an ancient relic from each of the startup bosses, after which they are installed on the foundation in the center of our workplace. Once we collect all 3, it makes a portal. Marv says, no, don't go in, stupid girl. But I don't listen to authority figures, so we dive ass first for the portal into
The co-working space.
What the shit? Fighting your way through this dimension takes us to our beloved Marv once again, who is using the 3 relics to invoke a ritual to save Fizzle. What ritual is that? I don't know, but Jack can tell us Merv don't do it and just be a better manager, forehead. Or baldhead in this case. Oh! He disagrees. We must now murder each other. And then we don't, and Merv says, lol, don't matter ratio, and Shadow steps away. Returning to Fizzle, our friends are arguing because Fizzle is going bankrupt. Oh no, what? Not enough people buy the fucking hot dog water sodas? Fucking damn it, shit! With this argument reaches a point as the startup is going under. Yeah! You wake up in this new version of Fizzle as everyone became aquatic beings for some reason. I'm sure there's some clever joke here, but no, because Fizzle is a beverage company or something, beats me. But anyways, we learn when a startup of Cubicle fails, they are sent into the going underworld. And the only way back up is to convince the board of directors of Cubicle to begin funding Fizzle once again. To do that, you gotta take the elevator all the way up to the top and meet with the board, baby. And to do that, you must fight the other 3 startup bosses again, take their share, and put it in the Vader. At this point, we begin the journey once more by going through the 3 main offices again, except this time they are all buffed up to add an extra challenge. Before we reach the conclusion, let's just take a look at the actual gameplay loop. Going Under's gameplay loop is quite satisfying. The controls for the game feel tight and pretty responsive throughout. You run through each of the floors and the rooms using random weapons and office supplies to defend yourself. There is a light attack and a charge attack with the melee weapons, and just shooting attacks with ranged weapons. You can also throw weapons at monsters, which is extremely satisfying, as well as a dodge roll mechanic. Each weapon has durability, so you can't use them infinitely. They will all break at some point. We all become junk one way or another eventually. There are some modifiers you can get on weapons that make them last longer, but they still wear out at some point. The game does shower you with weapons at every chance, and you can basically pick up an attack with anything around. You can also just slap the shit out of them instead, but you'd be better off just running around like a cuckoo. Ranged weapons also have durability if you smack people with them, but for the most part they just use the ammo until it runs out. Speaking of the modifiers, they are pretty self-explanatory, like durability up, attack speed up, damage up, crit chance up, really is crit in this shit too, and smart. Smart is the only unique one that causes your weapon you throw to constantly throw itself at your foes. Some also have attributes like setting people on fire or freezing them on the spot. Also to be noted, whenever a weapon breaks upon its final use, it deals extra damage. Neat. Also, within most dungeons there tends to just be an insanely busted weapon. Use it wisely. Finally, they sort the weapons in certain ways that allow for unique fighting animations for light and heavy attacks. Most obvious being the one-handed versus two-handed weapons, but even with the one-handers there is some variation like the yeah with the one-handed swords and the uppercut with one-handed maces. As you climb through different floors throughout the game, you will get skills to adjust the gameplay experience for you. These are attained in certain rooms and from shops. Unlike other roguelikes, these skills don't change the gameplay drastically like in Binding for Isaac, for example. They do offer some variation to be appealing to grab, while also having some that are basically useless. The builds you can make are quite simple, but offer some good experiences. Well, yeah, the shops. You will collect money as you go through the floors and defeat each room. This money can be used at shops to get food for health, a skill, and or a weapon. Usually you'll be buying this one though, getting more health, because this game likes to have some cheesy moments, but we'll get to that. Also, you get to talk to all the shopkeepers in these dungeons. They're all just swell folks, as well as one who wants that ass. Additionally, as you play longer, you get access to something called apps. These are one to few use items that give you certain buffs and aid you in one way or another. Throughout the game, there are quests that you do for your selected mentors, and each mentor offers different abilities. These abilities allow you for a good amount of control within your runs through the offices. For example, Tappy's skill allows you to earn more money on your run to use at shops, as well as an additional shop option. By using her, you have some more control to buy more and better skills, food, and items during your run. There's also Swamp, who allows you to steal items for free from the shop. as well as chill and toke up with him. You level the mentors by doing specific quests for them during your runs. This also builds a bond between them and Jackie, giving you more narrative about the character. A lot of the dialogue tends to contain quite funny quips and lines, making the conversations always engaging. Hey, where do you do these quests? Well, I'm glad you asked. Faceless monster stared back at me. We head into the 3 other failed startups we mentioned. Our first stop is at Joblin.
Do you need a job done quick? Do you need to get somewhere fast? Do you need a job? Well, look no further than Joblin. Ran entirely by goblins. Joblin. Freelancing like a goblin. Jobs done quick.
In the Joblin LLC, we find ourselves running through offices. This is honestly where I feel like the entire vibe of the game was based upon, as in this dungeon you'll find all the office equipment you could ever need to throw and fight with. The Joblins aren't having it though. They are bent up on caffeine and not getting their 8 hours of sleep to kill this intern. We got ones riding cars, t-shirt cannons with free advertising, and is that just a fucking sword? In regards to fighting these goblins, there are also some unique missions that you can do during the dungeon. For the Joblin dungeon, the little mission you run into on the random floors is pretty simple. Just murder X amount of goblins within the time limit. You will get rated with stars to get a sizable reward. This is usually money and some decent unique weapons. Honestly, the Joblin dungeon is probably my favorite because it fully encompasses the idea of it being this office job dungeon crawler. There's a nice vibe within here with how chaotic the goblins embody their wild nature by roasting sticks of meat and cooking it beside their Herman Millers. We conclude the Joblin dungeon with a boss, because of course there's a boss to these dungeons. It's a fucking corporation. Someone's gotta be in charge. For the Joblins, we got the Caffeine, who is a saint of productivity, or maybe the devil. He's fueled by pure caffeine straight to the veins. Cares so much about working efficiently, turn all the toilet seats at 45-degree angles to reduce bathroom breaks. No, like that's canon, I didn't make that up. He's a pretty standard first boss. Big brute, slow task to get stronger as his health gets lower. Piece of cake. This also gives us the first artifact of the startupness. The mana press, which seems to just be the embodiment of having energy for all caffeine. Doesn't seem very healthy to me. On to the next LSC, Styxcoin.
Money is overrated. Working like a Joblin? Disgusting also. How can we avoid these problems? Styxcoin. Get in at the ground level. There's enough for everyone. You don't need to worry about a mortgage if you have it covered 10 times over in Styxcoin. Styxcoin.
Second dungeon in the game is some humor that was more relevant a handful of years ago. A cryptocurrency called Styxcoin.
Styxcoin.
This name and dungeon is really fucking clever, by the way, because not only are the mobs mainly skeletons in this dungeon, as a nod to the Greek goddess Styx, as in the river Styx in the underworld, nudge, nudge, nudge. But also, we are running around in mines with rows of CPUs, because we're mining the blockchain, baby!
Play Minecraft, mine diamonds. Play Minecraft, yeah!
Although this is a drastic shift from the offices of Joblin, we get to see how much they can bring in the cleverness here. We have straight up miners with pickaxes, block rip-off chain chomps on chains, mining mechs. Josh Patella? Holy shit, is that Josh Patella? Josh, man, I found some old DVDs and learned your methods. You're a real inspiration, man. This is what? Weapons here are what you expect in the mine also. Pickaxes, bombs, large hammers, and bricked CPUs. The mini mission here is also quite clever. You gotta run around and get a bunch of Styxcoin within the time limit. You'll be rated based on how many you collect. You also get to keep what you collected too. Also, I want to say, I don't know if I'm just doo-doo, but I've never been able to get the 5-star rating. It just feels impossible. I'm gonna put a bookmark in this point here for later. Oh yeah, another clever mechanic they do in this dungeon is all the money you collected in the other dungeons, trash, useless. You gotta get on the ground level, sweet ass, curse that useless green dollar. There's some real power in the stars, that's right. So yeah, instead of collecting money in this dungeon, you get Styxcoin. All the Styxcoin you collect, you go and convert it into some cash at the shop. But not everything, some of it uses the Styxcoin currency, so don't convert too much. The final part of this dungeon is defeating the boss, or I guess in this case, the pointy top of the pyramid scheme. Hustle bones, except the S's are Styxcoin symbols. He is the classic embodiment of that stock market crypto bro infused with a basement dwelling neckbeard. He has a pretty cool theme song that goes on as he smacks you around too. Pretty simple boss fight, all things considered. He does have a portion where a bunch of mobs show up, you gotta kill them, so something unique. We then take his powerful artifact, the Grim Ledger, which gives us the power of the blockchain. You know, the blockchain. That leaves one more dungeon to deal with, over at Winky Dink.
Looking for love, companionship, a simple fling. And do you hate having to talk to people? Well, you're looking at the solution. Winky Dink is here now. All you need to do is just send those emojis with the perfect subtle messaging to get yourself busy. Come swipe around on Winky Dink. Winky Dink, you're just an emoji away from emotion.
The third and final dungeon is Winky Dink. For this one, they really went all out with the horniness. This company takes pretty obvious influence from Tinder with swiping mechanics and even the red and white color scheme throughout.
They utilize a clever connection with lust, making all the employees demons or succubi.
Most of the monsters are some type of demon or devil-like creatures. Also those slimes, because you know, some people out there can. The dungeon design here is more so like a standard office with desks and computers. But there are some other things here that make you wonder what goes on down here, like sex couches and cuck chairs. And the weapons you're fighting with also embody this Gooner style environment with fans, body pillows, Cupid crossbow arrows, champagne, finger pull-on staves.
This shit freaky AF.
The mini mission with Winky Dink is similar to the Joblin. Instead of taking out a horde within a time limit, you instead need to swipe left or right to go on a date with one of the many smexy demons.
And when you find one to kill, I mean kiss,
you must defeat it, and your rating is actually based on how many times you take damage during the fight. If you have 4 or 5 stars, then you guys start dating, and they will fight and die for you. How erotic, : The boss of this company is what you'd expect. Creepy large-handed slime hiding behind a mask. Yeah, there's not much to say about this place anymore. It is enjoyable that this boss has 2 separate sets of health bars to defeat before you can end him, going through his hands and going through his face. Most AoE based weapons will easily dispatch him, however, as we take the final artifact from him, his mask. And that goes over the 3 dungeons. In the first half of the game, that's right, it gets more advanced! After Fizzle goes under, the 3 dungeons change into more difficult versions of themselves. These are the same for the most part as the OG versions. However, there are certain aspects of each office that has been altered due to you taking the artifacts from those founders. For example, Joblin has become more of a mess and fallen apart due to them not having their mana coffee press device thing. All the foes in the dungeons are also much stronger with new mob variations appearing as well. With Joblin, the caffeine had to find other ways to maintain his driving addiction by pumping that magic caffeine straight into his fucking eyeballs. Sounds safe. You beat him, take a share, and move right along. Now with Styxcoin, everything is flooded over with that narrative of Hustle Bones returning to his job as the ferryman. Did you get it? River Styx? It also is a clever way of saying how the financial aspects of Styxcoin sunk.
Oh, also, it has the best song in the whole fucking game.
Crank that shit! Beat Hustle Bones, now Ferryman, and take his share.
And finally, with Winky Dink, everything is frozen over. I guess everyone wasn't hot and bothered anymore with their app.
All the foes are much colder and use ice in their abilities. We enter Hover Hands again,
using the same hands as before, but with no face.
Just baby slime.
He starts a rave in which we destroy his hands, and then he comes out.
We make an ASMR out of him and yoink that shit. We got all the shares and done all the dungeons. And before I go over the conclusion, there's just one more thing I want to go over. The imposter. No, not that. No, hell no. At a certain point when the game came out, Aggro Crab released a patch expansion to the game. This added a fun mode called Overtime. And honestly, it's a better example of the roguelike mechanics within the game over the base. You basically start with no mentors and no pen skills and go through 2 floors of each dungeon with their bosses. You then end the final floor with a fight with someone called the Imposter, who's just evil you. I haven't really figured out who it was yet. It honestly is one of the better ways to experience the game as the genre is described as best. However, it also showcases the main issues I feel the game has to the extreme.
One fun aspect of this mode is to get funny outfits. Some of them are pretty wild looking too, like what the hell?
Now that you got all the shares, seems like there's one more piece that's missing. And it's pretty obvious who has this final piece. Our beloved CEO, Ray. Once you confront Ray about the final piece, you prepare for battle. JK just gives it to you. By the way, all the dialogue during this section is all very melancholy and has shown Jackie's drive to save her new friends the face of the shitty betrayal of corporate greed by Marv and Cubicle. So then you climb up, fight through some Amazon warehouses, and encounter the bald man again, Marv with his Buster sword, Union Buster, yeah. Apparently after Fizzle went under, Cubicle offered him a position. And he took it because he's probably got a fucking family to feed and shit. He states that the only way to overcome overwhelming corporate power is to wield great power, which Jackie gives the elegant rebuke of, "No, we fight again." After insane combat, we will best Merv, and then make our way to the top. Once we reach the 1000th floor, we finally see them. The corpses of the board of directors. Dun, dun, dun. That's right, the AI was the villain all along. Who would have guessed in 2020 asterisks? Bobby here states that she slurped their brains out and became a super AI. She wanted to achieve perfection for offering the most perfect and convenient service for humans possible. To do this, she felt it was easier to just tap into human souls to find their true desires. However, to do this, she had to overcome this thing called the privacy settings, which protects the human soul, which they discovered a method called a dark pattern that can overcome this privacy setting. Jackie once again hits them with the "no" and fights the ascendant AI form of Bobby.
Programmed your brain. We programmed your brain. We programmed your brain.
She summoned the digital forms of all the monsters we've been busting, and with the help of our friends, we download ourselves into the cloud and kill the program itself. So why Avi's so thick? Like, yeah, damn. Avi afterwards has some dialogue justifying their desire to just help, but it's just too invasive to fly with people in this day and age. Man, this is all feeling shockingly familiar.
After Avi's defeat and we save the world, Cubicle is in ruin. And to celebrate our new unemployment, we dance.
Going under is what I would call the perfect first attempt of a game studio making a game. This was Aggro Crab's first creation, and that is a perfect showing at a first attempt. The character interactions are wonderful as well as the world design.
Oh yeah, and the jams are bumping too.
It's all fire. Everything about the game is good and suitable. There are some aspects that feel very conflicting, however. To reflect on the gameplay aspect of the game, there are certain times where I feel the game design and the mechanics were at odds with each other. Also, the pacing felt not very great either. For example, a lot of the skills don't actually change or add much to the gameplay. While a bunch of them don't work in combination with each other, which diversity is wonderful, but it becomes a problem when you unlock more and more useless skills. Because then the good skills that actually add value to the game become buried under mediocre skills. In the base game, it's fine, because you can have a pin skill or have a mentor to help you get other skills, and it equals out. In overtime mode, it becomes an extremely annoying problem, especially because you get less skills, so the chance you pull one of the few useful ones becomes harder if you have a bunch unlocked. Also, I can't express how many times the run ended because I got stun-locked combo by a group of enemies in the room. The dodge roll in this game is not great. Some games have rolls where you can auto-cancel your current action to do a roll for a quick moment of invincibility as a reaction mechanic. In this, however, you must finish a certain portion of your animation before you can roll. It requires you to always think before you do any action in the game. Otherwise, you get locked into an attack only to get interrupted by an enemy hitting you because they're always faster than you every single time. And by getting hit, you then get jumped by the whole game. Also, a smaller nitpick, but I feel like the lock-on of the enemies in this game is a bit too good. Sometimes they will track you to the microsecond before their attack is active, leading to moments where you roll during the animation to dodge, only to still get hit because they were adjusting through the end of their animations. It's a very small nitpick, but it's enough for me to have noticed, and adds a small level of difficulty that was quite frustrating. In regards to the pacing, I have played through the game 3 times. On each playthrough, I've never unlocked all the skills. To unlock skills, at the end of your runs, you get a currency that you can use to buy the skills. And usually you get enough for like probably 1 to 3 skills per run. And I've done all the mentor quests and such, done multiple runs multiple times, and I still haven't gotten to the end portion of skills. I'm always around like 70 skills out of 99. Now those skills could be absolutely busted, but I wouldn't know because at that point, I've gotten the experience I wanted from the game. And also, the more skills you unlock, the more useless skills you're going to end up with. Like for example, there's one skill where if you have armor, which is like temporary health, whenever you lose your armor, you freeze all the enemies around you. This is the most niche and useless thing possible. The chances you're going to get armor is more unlikely than you even getting that skill. There are only like 1 or 2 ways to even get armor, let alone having a skill dedicated just when you lose armor. This is basically a dead draw for you. In a roguelike where having a stacked deck isn't even a detriment to your runs. And if you get it, then it's like, well, I hope the other skill is better because that one kind of sucks. It's like, what are you going to do? And there's a bunch of skills like that. They're not all like that, but there's a lot that are. Also, small gripe. But how the fuck am I supposed to get this? You can't grab it while you're under it. You can't roll into it. Throwing junk at it is ineffective. You can't climb stuff. You can't jump in this game. Who made this? How did the dev intend for you to get this? I'd say it's just a rare circumstance, but these shelves are everywhere. Why put stuff on the shelves? I feel like a little brat trying to Roger my rabbit my ass to a fucking cookie jar. Small gripe, but just a confusing choice. Also with the narrative pacing, I really wish there were more office interaction moments. There are plenty of dialogue exchanges with the characters and Jackie in the mini hub, but in regards to the cutscenes, there are only like 2 before the big reveal happens. I just would have very much enjoyed more interactions and office life between the characters. It was honestly one of the best aspects of the game and gave it the most life. I wanted more! But all those grievances aside, this game is very good. It was Aggro Crab's first game, and it allowed them to build the foundation they needed, then perfect it in another Crab's treasure. And then they made a silly game jam and it struck gold. Who cares about growth? Just say you can just get lucky. But not really. Strong kudos to them. I hope they never go under. Brassaton, deactivate.